The high-rise glass tower of Zenith Corp was a cold monument to ambition. But for Arav Metha, settling into his new role as senior strategist, the surroundings were irrelevant. His focus was always impeccable, his manner poised and his appearance clean-cut, sharply dressed, with a smile that was genuine but carefully contained, made him an immediate legend on the 9th floor. Arav was, objectively, the dream, and the women of Zenith Corp knew it. Within days, his desk was a magnetic field. There were invitations for coffee, requests for quick professional advice, and prolonged fluttering conversations by the water cooler. He handled it all with the practiced grace of a man who knew his worth but also knew his boundaries. He parried compliments with easy humor and kept conversations strictly professional. He was promised, already engaged to a girl chosen by his family, a connection rooted in duty, comfort, and structure. He was off limits, and he behaved as such. Yet one girl lingered at the periphery of his attention, a silent constant in a chorus of noise. He had first seen her a week before he joined, a flash of recognition on the crowded city street while he was consulting the building directory. She possessed a quiet, almost classical beauty, soft eyes, dark hair typically pulled back, and an air of thoughtful reserve. The exact image he had, quite selfishly, always drawn in the quiet corners of his mind when thinking of a perfect woman. Her name was Dia Sharma. She worked in the adjacent marketing division. Dia was not one of the flocks. While the others giggled and maneuvered closer to his cubicle, Dia kept her distance, her gaze occasionally meeting his with a depth that felt unnervingly honest. Arav started walking over to her desk under the guise of interdepartmental queries. He knew he shouldn't, but the purely visual draw was too strong to ignore. He kept the conversations light, professional, peppered with his usual charm, ensuring there was no mistaking his intent for anything serious. Dia, however, was already lost. The moment he had first smiled at her, a slight appreciative tilt of his lips, she had fallen deep and irreversible. She knew his situation. Office gossip was a swift, cruel beast. He was taken, bound, unobtainable. As the weeks bled into a month, Arav began to peel back the layers he hadn't expected to find. Dia wasn't just beautiful, her intelligence was acute, her humor dry and empathetic, and her ethical compass was impossibly true. She had the character he had always envisioned, a quiet strength and a fierce loyalty to her own principles. The casual appreciation curdled into something potent and terrifying. Arav realized the girl he was pledged to was a perfect match on paper, but Dia was the perfect match for his soul. The professional barrier shattered. They began sneaking out. Short, hurried lunches morphing into clandestine coffee hours after work. They traded the sterile light of Zenith Corp for the moody corners of downtown cafes. They didn't need grand gestures. Their dates were built on shared words, the exchange of laughter that felt too loud, too vital, and stolen happy moments that existed purely outside the reality of their lives. In those stolen hours, Arav forgot the fiancé waiting for him, and Dia forgot the impossible constraints of their situation. Their connection was a phantom limb, invisible to the world, agonizingly real to them. But secrets in a large office are temporary. Whispers grew into murmurs, and eventually the murmurs reached Dia's close circle of friends. Their protests were quiet but firm, rooted in concern for her reputation and the ethics of the situation. "He is engaged, Dia. You are setting yourself up for heartbreak that isn't fair to you," one friend pleaded. "This isn't a movie, Dia. Someone will get hurt, and it will be you." Dia absorbed the shame and the cold truth of their warnings. She knew they were right. Every happy moment they stole was a debt they would have to pay back with interest. If they continued, the wreckage would be absolute. His family, her reputation, and the crushing weight of their own conscience. Slowly, painfully, Dia began to retreat. Her texts grew shorter, her smiles faded into polite reserve, and the excuses for cancelled lunches became frequent and genuine. She was building a wall, brick by agonizing brick, between them. Arav, who had lived his life with controlled equilibrium, found himself spiraling. The distance was a physical ache. The man who had been so sure of his duties was now riddled with doubt and anxiety. He suffered sleepless nights, staring at the ceiling and replaying their stolen laughter. He tried to persuade her. He cornered her subtly, sending long emails pleading for clarity, begging her to continue their conversations, telling her he would figure things out, that they deserved to be happy. Dia's replies were devastatingly simple, wrapped in a mantle of cold practicality. "It's pointless, Arav, it was a mistake. We both know where this must end." She knew that the longer they grasped at happiness, the deeper the roots would grow, and the more catastrophic the eventual severance would be. Her withdrawal was an act of terrible, necessary mercy. Arav watched her retreat, helpless. He saw the genuine agony in her eyes, the painful resolve that eclipsed her love for him. He tried to fight it, but eventually he understood that forcing the issue would only inflict deeper wounds. If she required distance to heal, he had to honor it, even if it meant tearing himself apart. He maintained his distance. They passed in the hallways like polite strangers, professional barriers reconstructed and reinforced. The laughter had vanished, replaced by a hollow, strained silence. The magnetic field around his desk returned, but Arav was inert now, his light dimmed, the charm mechanical. Then, one Tuesday morning, Dia's desk was empty. It was too neat, too sterile. Her personalized mousepad was gone, the surface wiped clean. Arav felt a sudden, cold dread grip his stomach. He asked around, casually, hiding the panic. A colleague mumbled something about her transferring, perhaps a sickness, maybe a family situation. No one knew for sure. No farewell email, no forwarding number, just a clean, sudden disappearance. Dia Sharma had left the job, leaving behind only the ghost of the perfect woman. The woman he had finally found and irrevocably lost in the cold glass tower of Zenith Corp. Arav was left with the inescapable structure of his prearranged life, perpetually haunted by the vibrant warmth of a connection he had been too late and too bound to keep hold of.